So I just watched that Indiana Fever game against the Sparks, and Christy Sides might be one of the worst basketball coaches, professional basketball coaches I have ever seen. It's not even funny how many of her just ridiculous decisions lost him that game today. Like, look, not everything was perfect. Aaliyah Boston got in foul trouble really early with 2 phantom fouls in the first half. Caitlin Clark had 2 very costly turnovers late in that game, and like the Sparks did not miss. So all of them are true. But a competent coach wins that game for Indiana 10 times out of 10. But before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 4,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We're less than 200 away. If we could somehow hit that by the end of the month, that would be absolutely insane. So watching this game early, and it was a decent-ish start to the game for Indiana. They hit a couple of threes. When they hit at 3 from Caitlin Clark. And then offensively, they looked awful. Like Aaliyah Boston, they did pretty well to start. She goes and picks up 2 fouls like that. And then after that, they legitimately did not look like, as a team, they were able to score unless it was via Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark did everything. There was a stage where the team had 26 points. Caitlin Clark had 14 of them. But it was like, it was a tough situation, because I will say that, in fairness to Christy Sides, she did run a couple of sets to improve the blitzes, to improve how Caitlin Clark can come off the blitzes. But if you know anything about Caitlin Clark, she has one major deficiency in her game. And the one major deficiency in her game is, well, there's one major deficiency and there's one deficiency in her game. The major deficiency is the lack of a mid-range game. The deficiency is she's not the best on-ball defender. Or she's not even the best defender in the world. And also, you don't want her, because of how she's being pressured, having to be chasing someone around off screens. So what does Christy Sides do? First of all, on the offensive end, she has every single play with the stagger screen play to start. It basically means that Caitlin Clark has to make a read, or the defense can't blitz because Caitlin Clark is able to make a read because the players are in positions to dive. The kind of stagger screen at the top. I don't mind that set, but every single time going right. They literally, no matter what, every screen was to set Caitlin Clark going right. Even if Caitlin Clark was on the right wing, the screen was set going right so she's attacking the baseline. What is she meant to do? She's running into no man's land. She's running into no man's land off these. Anytime Aaliyah Boston set a screen going left, she got open for 3. Is she shooting the best percentage from 3? Not really. She shot 33% from 3. That included 2 one heave down 7 with 40 seconds to go, which didn't really matter. And another one was, I think, might have been a half-court heave as well. So let's just say take 2 of them. 3 of 7. Good 3-point percentage. You get Caitlin Clark going left. You don't have to be this genius coach to know that Caitlin Clark is better going left than going right. Because if she goes left, she can shoot the 3. Heck, she can actually shoot the step-back mid-range going left. And also, she's able to finish. She can always do what she did to Yeru, where Aaliyah Boston did a really good job of kind of sealing her, where she kind of faked, beat her man, drove in. Yeru was sealed by Boston. She went and kind of finished near side with the right so her body could kind of protect the layup. She has the ability to... She's got a much better ability going left and going right, but it's just an insistence. It's just an insistence on screwing over, it seems, the team. But obviously Caitlin Clark was going right. On the defensive end, why is Caitlin Clark guarding Nurse? Why is Caitlin Clark guarding the best shooter on the other team? They ran so many pin downs and stuff for Caitlin Clark. There was a play where Nurse hit I think her 4-3, where literally Caitlin Clark came off 3 pin down screens. No switches, no communication, nothing. I just don't understand it. Why are they stepping under screens on McDonald? McDonald went 3 of 5 from 3. Nurse went 5 of 6 from 3. They went under screens on everybody. Why are they going under screens on a team who just shot their way back into the game? And maybe if you want to start off the game going under screens, but as soon as they start hitting shots, literally, they're up 7. And the Sparks, the only reason the Sparks did not get blown out in that game, in that third quarter, was because the Fever just kept leaving them open. And this is not a personnel issue, this is a tactical issue, because they blitzed everything. And I actually don't mind that as far as defense is concerned. Basically, the one half decent decision that I think she made was that they made their defense more, we're going to look for steals, we're going to look for blocks, we're going to look to rotate, because steals, rebounds, and push, it just, the way that they were playing to speed up the tempo of the game allows them to run more, and they are a much more successful team in transition than they are in anything else. Okay, cool. That is a smart decision, but you need to adjust. You need to adjust. Just because you have an actual decent set to stop the blitz, when it's not working because it's forcing Caitlin Clark to go right and she's less effective going to the basket than anything else, than anywhere else, you get away from it. You go away from that. Maybe you run it left. If you go and your defense is working, it got them an 11-0 run to start the third. But if the other team is starting to shoot and you are literally helping off shooters and leaving shooters wide open, they literally left Nurse wide open consistently in that blitzing defense. It's like, no, you do not double off the shooter. The other teams that are blitzing the likes of Caitlin Clark, they are not blitzing Kelsey Mitchell. They are not blitzing everybody on the team. They're not blitzing Wheeler. But they will help off anyone other than Caitlin Clark. But the freaking Fever decided to help off the shooter. Why are they helping off the shooter? Like, it doesn't make sense. It actually does not make sense. And like, I don't mind going into a game with this tactic. If you go into the game with that tactic where you're going to blitz, you're going to do all this stuff, you can't play that way for 4 quarters. Like, I'm sorry, other teams are coached by competent coaches. Because like, teams can blitz the Fever for 4 quarters because Christy Sides does not know how to make an adjustment. She might be able to make an adjustment when she goes home, draws up an offensive play, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is going to stop the blitz. But when competent teams and competent coaches see what you're doing, react to what you're doing, and stop what you're doing, you've got to have a plan B, plan C, like other teams have. You went out in the second half to blitz them. It worked perfectly. The difference is that the Los Angeles Sparks coach was actually able to put his players in a position to succeed despite that. So regardless of what they were doing, they were able to move off the ball, they were passing, they were cutting in certain ways, that they were always getting that open 3-point shot, because that's what a competent coach does. Whereas Christy Sides can't seem to make any, like, as soon as a team figures out the A game, she needs to obviously wait till the next game to figure out a way to stop that. Like, no, a good coach sees the way defense is being played on you. It's like, okay, this play we're running was working for a while. This defense we were running was working for a while. It's not working because the other team have made this adjustment. Let's make this adjustment to stop that. But they didn't. But she didn't. Because she never makes any in-game adjustments. The only in-game adjustment she makes is when Caitlin Clark is hot, taking her off the floor. Like, why? I get it, giving Caitlin Clark a rest. Do not take her off when she's hot. Do not take her off when the team are hot. That is dumb. That is incredibly dumb. I'm fine. Give her a rest. Do not give her a rest when you are on a run with 4 minutes to go in the quarter. Not only that, do not wait until you are losing. You are up a 7. Do not wait until you are down 4 to call a timeout. They literally went bang, bang, bang. 3 consecutive possessions, 3 3-pointers. No timeout. Why no timeout? Why? And not only that, you didn't even call the timeout after the 3rd 3-pointer. You waited until they got another 2 right after it to call the timeout, put Caitlin Clark back in the game for like 20 seconds to end the 3rd quarter. Like, why? What's the point of that? If you're going to do that, just sit her till the 4th. It's like, it's horrible to watch. It is horrible to watch because there's players there. Like, Aaliyah Boston had her best game in a long time. Caitlin Clark had her best game as a pro. Kelsey Mitchell... Man, I'd love if Caitlin Clark had the lack of conscience that Kelsey Mitchell does in every aspect of the game. Man, she'd be putting up 30 a game. Like, Arika is the only player I've seen shoot the ball more than Kelsey Mitchell. Like, there is not a shot she does not like. Wheeler played good defense in that game. The other players like Wallace hit a 3. Wallace didn't look too bad on defense, and like Fagbenle is the perfect center to play with Caitlin Clark. And the fact is, Fagbenle and Boston the second half did really well. So, like, Boston and Caitlin Clark played really well together. That was nothing to do with coach Sides. Like, they just started playing off each other a little more, and they'll learn to play with each other. And it's not like she doesn't know the game of basketball, because very clearly they went out with a better game plan today. They went in with a better game plan. They went in with, like, trying to show some identity on defense. They rebounded better. They rotated better and harder. They did not show up with a bad game plan, which is the one thing I will say. They did not show up with a bad game plan at all. But the problem is that when you go out with a game plan and the other team figures out your game plan and you refuse to go out of the game plan, that's bad coaching. Her subs and rotations are horrendous. And also, in the fourth quarter, with like 6 minutes to go, Aaliyah Boston picked up her 5th foul. But then, like, ridiculous foul call. But then also, while she picked up her 5th foul, she left her in for 90 seconds and then subbed her out. Why? Why not? Why? Like, literally, she subbed her out when the game was... It wasn't that it was over, but, like, I think it was like a 6-point game or something. All momentum for the Sparks when Aaliyah Boston got subbed out. But, like, subbed her back in. By the time she subbed her back in, the game was over. Why? Why not risk it? When you go down 8 to 10 points with 4 minutes to go, you put her back in the game. You don't wait until 2.5, 3 minutes to go. No, you put Aaliyah Boston back in the game. She shouldn't have taken her out in the first place. Like, if she fouls out, so be it. There's 6 minutes to go. If she fouls out, so be it. She had her best half as a pro. Or not as a pro, sorry, of the season. She was having her best half. If she fouls out, so be it. Do not wait until you have do not take her out of the game when it's still a ball game and wait till you have lost the game to put her back in. That is incompetence. That is absolute incompetence. They won 13 games last year. They're going to win in and around the same this year, maybe less. Despite the fact that they have got one of the better point guards in the league now. And Fagbenley's playing for them, who is hooping. Like, it's all on her. It's a lot, it's on her. A lot of it's on her. Like, they are currently 1-6 right now, or 1-7. They're 1-7. They would be 3-5, which is a much different record. A much different record, 3-5 and 1-7. They would be 3-5 if she was able to make competent subs. Like, if she was able to sub in any way. It's madness. It's absolute madness. And for people saying, like, oh, if Caitlin Clark, like, she isn't that player. No, Caitlin Clark is that player. Aaliyah Boston's a serious player. Fagbenley's a serious player. Heck, Mitchell's a serious player. But it's a coach who's just out of her depth. Like, she's probably a really good basketball coach in general. But, like, the WNBA is a professional league. And she is a terrible, and I mean terrible, professional basketball coach. Because just everything. Her rotations are terrible. Her use of timeouts is terrible. Her ability to just adjust in-game is terrible. Her ability to know, like, it took her like 4 games to realize Fagbenley's good with Clark. Even though she was, like, in preseason, Fagbenley and Clark were really good. For the first few games, the two of them were really good together. It took her a whole bunch of time to realize, okay, maybe our sprinting center, our center who just rim runs the whole game, is going to be a better fit with our point guard who likes their centers to run than Smith, our power forward who just doesn't seem to do anything. Like, this one is a bad one. This one's on the coach, because you can't knock, other than a couple of bad plays. And look, if you dissect anyone's game, if you dissect any basketball player's game, they're going to have bad plays. Like, they're going to do good things, they're going to do bad things. But when you have Aaliyah Boston scoring 17 points at a half, when you have Caitlin Clark setting her season high in points, steals, and blocks, and also having 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and you lose, that's on you. That's on you. Like, regardless of how Indiana shot the ball, like, it's easy to shoot the ball when you're leaving them open. Like, they tactically left shooters open. They tactically went under screens on shooters. They tactically left shooters open. This is like, I can't remember who did it to the Boston Celtics. There was a team that did it to the Boston Celtics, and Jaylen Brown just started lighting them up. It's like that. Except at least these other teams, when they were getting lit up, had the, like, foresight to change it and not continue to leave the shooters open. Oh, I rant over, but oh my God, like, the Indiana Fever are such an interesting team to watch because their players are good. When they go get firing on all cylinders, they're great. And there's also stages where you're just watching and you're like, oh, they're going to win this game. Nah, Christy Sides is going to stop that. She's terrible. She's, like, genuinely. I'm not really an advocate for someone to lose their job. I'd rather she just get better as a coach. But she's terrible. She's genuinely terrible.